So Tom Aspinall versus Marcin Tybura takes place as the main event of UFC London tomorrow, the time this video does come out, and this should be a very straightforward prediction, a very easy win for our guy Tom Aspinall. The UFC is giving him this matchup as pretty much a layup. Let's be honest, it's a get-right matchup for him. The UFC wants Aspinall to be successful, wants him to keep bringing that UK market. So the UFC definitely wants Aspinall to succeed because they want to go to London or the UK at least twice a year, and Leon Edwards might fight once a year. He might not be the most active champion that we have. So having a guy in Aspinall along with that provides some extra help to that UK market. So they're giving him Marcin Tybura pretty much as a get right, get your knee, we'll see where you're at matchup, because in his last fight against Curtis Blades, he did happen to tear his ACL and completely blow his knee out in the first round. So the UFC right now is basically giving him I would say a free win against Tybura, and it makes total sense. So I think Aspinall should get this one done in the first round fairly easily. I think he'll be able to go in there and do everything better than Tybura. Let's be honest here. When we compare these two fighters, we have a guy in Tom Aspinall who's shown athleticism, who's shown good boxing, good jiu-jitsu, really sweet hands, really fast hands. Then we have a guy like Tybura who is a fat heavyweight. Let's be honest here. He doesn't do anything too particularly well. I mean, he did beat Alexander Romanov after he gassed out, and it was still a close decision. He had Romanov gassed out in front of him after the first round, after taking a whooping. I mean, almost a 10-8 round in that first round grappling wise, and then just kind of cruised through the second and third round. So I don't really see him having an advantage over Aspinall, who pretty much made light work of Alexander Volkov, and really nobody I've ever seen really makes light work of Volkov like that besides Aspinall. And Tybura had major issues. Actually, he lost that fight because he couldn't even get down Volkov. So when I compare the grappling of these two guys, I have a guy who I see who's uber athletic, who's training his ass off, who's coming back off of a knee injury, be that, and a guy like Tybura who's fat, old, and he just really can't do much too well. And then I think obviously Aspinall has the advantage with the hands. His boxing, he's a former boxer for a long time. I think before he got to the UFC, he was doing a lot of boxing. So I think his hands are going to be his main weapon in this matchup. And if things do get a bit dicey, which I don't see happening, he can always fall back on his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu to get Tybura out of there. Overall, this is kind of an easy sort of dub for Aspinall. I can't really explain this too much because there's not much to explain. Aspinall is just better. He has an actual future in the sport. Tybura is kind of just that guy who just floats around the top 10, the top 15 at heavyweight and just beats some guys he should beat and loses some guys who are really good. He's kind of like I wouldn't say the Brunson, but he's kind of similar to that aspect of the guy. If you can beat Tybura, you're going to be something at heavyweight. If you can't, you'll never be shit. It just is what it is. But Tybura isn't just some schmuck. He isn't some lamb to the slaughter when fighting Aspinall. Aspinall's going to have to try and definitely mix in some things and really have a camp for this. He can't go in just going like, okay, it's Tybura, I'm gonna go in here and just whoop his ass. No, he has to somewhat prepare for this. But I think that his preparation, his talent, his athleticism will carry him for the majority of this matchup. I think he'll make light work of Tybura, honestly. I think he'll kill him in the first round. It shouldn't be too much for Aspinall to get this one done, but I do kind of worry a little bit. Tybura can probably clinch with him and get him up against the cage and really try to wear down Aspinall. And he might be a bit more timid than what he usually is because of that knee injury. So we might not see the best version of Aspinall we've ever seen. And Tybura might be able to take advantage of that and be able to just kind of clinch for 3 rounds and win a decision. That's definitely a possibility, but I just don't see it being a good one, is what I mean. So it's not really much to talk about, bro. This whole fight's fucking boring, honestly. This whole card is pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie. Aspinall is just way too good of a fighter to lose to a fucking bum like Tybura. I'm gonna go out and just say it right now. Tybura is basically a not good. He's not good, and Aspinall is good. Like, that's my logic for this fight. Aspinall is very good fighter, and Tybura is very not good fighter. It's really that simple of a prediction. I mean, come on, like he lost to Augusto Sakai, who's not good. Lost to Shamil Abdurakhimov, who's not that good. Granted, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, but I mean, you should be losing to these guys, man. Like, he lost to Volkov, but he's been on a tear recently. Like, he's beaten Sergey Spivak, who's a good win, beat Maxim Grishin, beat Ben Rothwell, beat Greg Hardy, beat Walt Harris, beat Ivanov, beat Romanov. So, like, he has string together a good win streak before losing to Volkov. But I just overall don't see much talent coming from the game of Tybura. It's going to take a lot for me to end up feeling confident to ever pick him to beat somebody like an Aspinall, who I see being a somewhat of a future champ. Like, he could definitely be a champion down the line. I think after he beats Tybura, he can fight maybe a Cyril Gahn and take him down and embarrass him with the grappling. He definitely has a chance to do that. So I can see Aspinall going on his career and sometime in the future fighting for a belt. And when I think about Tybura, I never really see that. I'm never really convinced that he'll ever win a belt or ever be in the top 5 convincingly. So I don't really see much of a future for Tybura besides being that guy that floats around and makes his money. You know, I don't mind Tybura being that guy that just floats around the top 15, top 10 of heavyweight and just figures out a way to make him some bread. And like, he'll be that veteran, that crafty veteran when he gets super old, just making some money still, like kind of like how an Andre Arlovsky is. He'll be that similar kind of guy, just floats around and just beats guys he should beat and loses the guys that he should lose to. But afterwards, after this fight, I guess feed him to some up-and-comer, maybe a Gelton Almeida. Who knows what rank actually is Tybura? He's probably like top 15. So he's ranked number 10. So I guess give him a Rosenstrike or maybe a Derek Lewis rematch, depending on the outcome of that DeLima fight. And go ahead and give Aspinall maybe Cyril Gahn, and then maybe he gets a title shot against Pavlovich once Jones retires. Yeah, I can just see a future for Tom Aspinall and not much for Tybura. He's 37 years old. He's an kind of an old man. Tom Aspinall's 30, hitting the prime of his career. He's looking better than ever. He does everything better than Tybura, in my opinion. So I just don't really see a way in Aspinall really losing this one, unless it's by a fluke, man. It's been the year of the fluke so far in the UFC. So definitely anything can happen. And Tybura can somehow maybe one punch KO Tom Aspinall out cold, which I don't see happening. But it's certainly in the cards, I guess. Even if it's a 1% chance of happening, it can happen. Maybe, like, honestly, Tybura could probably win the lottery before he one punch KOs out Tom Aspinall. But with the way this year has been going in the UFC, it can definitely be a possibility of happening. But I have to be realistic. I have to be straight with my predictions. And I don't see a considerable chance to predict that fucking Tybura can one punch KO out Aspinall. I think his chin is somewhat decent. We've never actually seen the chin of Aspinall get tested in the UFC so far. I think he said at one point in one fight back in like his regional scene, he got put down at one point by a heavyweight, which I guess says something, but no one has the video of it, or at least I don't have the video of it, so I don't really know. So I'll keep his word for it. So other than that, there's nothing that I can point to be like, oh yeah, Aspinall's chin is somewhat compromised. No, it's just not really a thing. So I can just see Aspinall just tooling up Tybura for fucking 5 rounds, or maybe getting a finish in the first round, like how I'm going to predict Aspinall first round TKO. He's gonna wipe the floor with Tybura. Whatever. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you watched this point, thank you. I know this video is kind of me rambling a lot, but thank you. I do appreciate it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon as well for notifications. I certainly do appreciate it. Aspinall by first round KO. I'm out of here. Peace.